the Russian Black Sea Fleet submarine Novorossiysk, on combat duty in the Mediterranean, experienced a serious technical failure, which Moscow is attempting to cover up. According to the Cheka-OGPU, the submarine's fuel system is damaged, with fuel leaking directly into the hold. This not only renders the submarine unfit for full-scale missions, but also creates a critical safety hazard. There is a risk of explosion. Problems of this nature are nothing less than a real disaster for the Russian Navy. The situation for Russia is exacerbated by the lack of necessary parts and specialists on board for repairs. The crew is unable to repair the damage on their own. Under these circumstances, according to the source, the sailors' only option is to dump fuel overboard to prevent an explosion inside the compartment. The current breakdown is not only the incident involving the Russian fleet in recent months. A source has obtained information about another classified incident that occurred on August the 7th, 2025 in Temryuk Bay. The small missile ship Vyshny Volochok from the 41st Brigade was on a mission as part of a group and collided with a civilian tanker. The vessel sustained serious damage, but information about this was not made public. Command later portrayed the accident as the result of a drone attack. Reports claimed the incident had no impact on the ship's combat capability. However, publicly available photographs indicate otherwise. The damage was noticeable and clearly impaired the vessel's capabilities. Ultimately, the accident on the Novorossiysk submarine and the hidden incident with the Vyshny Volochok reveal the true scale of the Russian Navy's problems. Today's Russian Navy is a smaller, green water version of its Soviet predecessor, focused primarily on coastal defense rather than global power projection. The Russian Navy's primary strength lies in its modern submarine fleet and its emphasis on long-range hypersonic missiles like the Kalibr and Zircon. While these weapons provide a potent offensive punch, the Navy as a whole lacks the strategic reach and carrier-based air power to rival the US or other blue water navies. Today's Russian Navy is tasked with a very similar mission and has a similar set of tools with which to accomplish the littoral defense mission, though at a smaller scale than the Soviet Navy. The 1990s collapse of Russia's shipbuilding industry, much of which occurred ironically in Ukraine, has hampered the Russian Navy's ability to build warships. A period of modest modernization in the 2000s and 2010s helped boost capabilities and hull numbers, although this initiative did not aim to drastically expand the Russian Navy's blue water capabilities, but rather to revive a gutted industry. Consequently, the Russian Navy today could be better described as a green water navy, regionally dominant in Russia's coastal areas and its near abroad, but lacking the rapid response, global deployment capabilities of the US Navy. In practical terms, the Russian Navy's submarine fleet is perhaps its strongest component. Many of the Russian submarines are nuclear-powered, giving them a range constrained only by crew sustainment and periodic maintenance requirements. Unlike the US Navy, some Russian Navy nuclear submarines are also nuclear-armed, making them the silent underwater component of Russia's nuclear triad. Russia has begun collecting old T-72A tank hulls en masse at the Ural Vagonzavod plant. Analysts believe hundreds of these vehicles will be restored for frontline use or converted to new combat platforms, from Terminators to heavy armored personnel carriers. According to Defense Express, a cluster of old T-72A hulls was discovered near the Ural Vagonzavod plant in Nizhny Tagil. according to satellite images published by a social media user named JohnP99. Hundreds of previously unseen hulls appeared at the Ural Vagon Zavod site in August. The analyst speculates that this indicates that approximately 1,000 hulls are in reserve, slated to be removed from storage and brought in for restoration. As experts explain, the T-72A is a modification produced between 1979 and 1985. Compared to the T-72B, it has simple armor, a weaker engine, and a less sophisticated fire control system. Therefore, restoring these vehicles will require more time and resources than the more modern T-72B. According to experts, a massive operation is underway at Ural Vagon Zavod. The appearance of the hulls began around August, so the transportation and decision-making process lasted several months. There are two main scenarios for using the imported hulls. The first is repair and modernization for deployment to the front. Due to a shortage of modern platforms and the loss of equipment, Russia may seek to replenish its fleet with upgraded T-72As, the authors write. However, most of the buildings are in worse condition, so more work is needed, and therefore the project will require significant human and material resources. The second option is conversion into other combat vehicles. For vehicles in better condition, modernization is being considered for light assault or specialized modules, for example, variants like the Sturm TSH-RK. For heavily worn hulls or those no longer equipped with turrets, conversion into the Terminator BMPT is a possibility, of which Russia has reportedly ordered more. Furthermore, the T-72A chassis can be used to produce heavy armored personnel carriers with an enlarged troop compartment for approximately 6 to 8 people and space for anti-drone defense systems. Similar examples were already spotted near the plant in the summer of 2024, which may indicate intentions to mass produce such vehicles. Returning the T-72A to service will require significant time and labor. Due to its reduced automation, Ural Vagon Zavod is reportedly relying more heavily on human resources, increasing the cost and duration of restoration. Furthermore, vehicles in better condition are suitable for modernization, while those in worse condition are better suited as platforms for other armored vehicle projects. The losses are truly depleting storage bases, forcing Russia to pull out inferior vehicles, which require additional time and resources to restore. At the same time, the complete depletion of armored vehicles is still a long way off, considering that the MT, LBU, BTR-60 and BRD-M2 weren't so severely affected. Defense Express writes, Ukraine is currently expected to launch drone strikes on the Ural Vagon Zavod tank factory.